Indrajit, we connected with you on Friday. Are the power cuts still as debilitating as they were on Friday? Have things got better? I would reckon the only thing that's changed in the last 48 hours since I spoke with you is emergency. Your country's under emergency now.
So the power cuts aren't as bad. I think they're actually quite scared, and they're scaring up fuel from anywhere they can. There's supposed to be a power cut right now, but it hasn't kicked in yet. But I mean, fundamentally, the economic fundamentals are still there. We still don't have the dollars. We're still not producing exports that people want to buy in Sri Lankan rupees. So the crisis is there. I think the government is really hoping for it to rain, because at that point, our hydropower can kick in, and then people wouldn't be on the streets as much.
Indrajit, you're coming in from a protest yourself. There is emergency right now. Very briefly, there was a clamp on social media as well. You said it last time, and that's what I gather from speaking to Thushanti as well, that this unrest that there is in the citizenry in Sri Lanka is organic. You've come in from a protest. What is the demand right now? Because practically all of your president's cabinet, other than him and his brothers, have stepped down.
Yeah. So the protests are absolutely organic. I think almost any Sri Lankan, you don't have to walk more than a kilometer to find a protest where your neighbors would be at. I went to a protest 100 meters from here, which was organized by the Inter-University Students Federation. And they've actually been protesting. I mean, they're socialist students. They've been protesting since 1978. They're quite experienced at it. But at this protest, lots of people just came and joined. So people who would get off the bus, they would come and join. There were people with the young children, with families. And what I found interesting was actually someone came by in a Prado, so obviously a rich person, and they're hanging out the sunroof holding their signs, and they come and turn around and join this protest by, young socialist students. So that's the level of, I guess we're all quite united about Rajapaksa's go home, because we want our homes back.
A lot, Thushanti, it's a political question, but Indrajit, I'll ask you this. There's a lot of talk that this entire, the protests that you see on ground are actually being fueled by the opposition. How much of play is the opposition in this, and how much do you see actually people like you joining in the protest against the government, wanting it to step down?
Well, I mean, look, the opposition came out and protested earlier, and that's part of our democracy. It's good if the opposition comes out. But is the opposition fueling protests, like every 500 meters? No, they don't even have that capacity. These are completely organic protests. These are people who are stepping out of their homes and joining other people. And when I was in the protest, everybody going by is honking in support, or they're waving. Even the ambulances are stopping and honking. This is quite organic that everybody wants these guys to go. We want a new future for our country. And if the opposition is involved, good for them. That's part of our political process. But these are people's protests. All the people are out. Well, actually, one thing I'll add is I think every MP's home has been protested in front of.
Yes, please, go ahead.
Well, I think every MP's home has been protested in front of now.
Go ahead. The
Rajapaksas, their ancestral home, people protested there, and that's the heart of their power. So that's how they don't have support in their own hometown. That's how wide the protests are.
Indrajit, are things better for your son? You said it was, horrible in terms of no power, nothing as well, because this seems to be the long haul now. Because this is not going to, clearly, stem in a couple of days. It's not government created. It's an economic tragedy that you guys are going through.
Yeah, look, I think these are long-term problems that started really 40 years ago. To me, it's part of neoliberal capitalist economics, where we've just been sort of like a colony. We just outport cheap labor and resources, and we buy imported goods, and we prop that up with aid and then with commercial loans, but the fundamentals of the economics weren't there. And I think Sri Lanka has to return to what it was, which is a democratic socialist republic, where we actually produce goods, and where we produce energy and agriculture for ourselves, and we produce excess that we can export. And that's a long process. It's a 40-year process that got us here. It'll be decades to get us out.